Those World War II veterans who saw heavy combat typically tried to forget their more painful or disturbing experiences, the ones that haunted their dreams and gnawed on their conscience. Not so for the humorous moments of the war. Those were the memories they were more willing to share. They were the stories that wives, children, and grandchildren were much more likely to hear. A case in point is a vivid memory shared countless times by Vincent Speranza, who, in December of 1944, was a scrawny kid from Staten Island, New York, who found himself with the 101st Airborne Division at Bastogne, a Belgian town completely surrounded by the Germans during the Battle of the Bulge. Today, that story is known to the residents of Bastogne simply as Vince's beer story.
My friend Joe Willis had gotten hit. And at the time, we were surrounded and cut off. There was no place to take the wounded out. All the wounded were brought to the church. And they were laid on the floor, as I mentioned before, and covered with whatever we could cover. And I had been sent to headquarters for maps or something, whatever the story was. While I was waiting, I went to the church to find Joe. And as I walked along the church floor, I got such a lump in my throat. Here's all these guys, bloodied and wounded, shot, and nobody's moaning. Nobody's making any groaning or hollering like you see in the movies, all that. Not these guys. They're all sitting there and they're huddled up in as best whatever we could wrap them with and so on. And I felt, so I walked over and I find Joe. And I said, Joe, how you doing? He said, I'm okay. He said, I just got a few pieces of shrapnel in my legs. He said, I'll be out of here in a few days. I said, well, Joe, I'm sorry you got hit. So I said, what can I do for you? He said, hey, Speranza, find me something to drink. I said, Joe, where the hell am I going to find you something to drink? We're surrounded. There's no supplies or equipment coming in here, right? It's on. He said, go look, see, maybe the taverns that have gotten bombed out or something. I said, okay. So I walked down the street, Bastogne, and I go to a tavern and I looked around, everything's shattered glass and broken, there's nothing. And I walked out, went further down the street. The next tavern I came to, when I pulled the beer handle, there was beer still on tap in there. Take off my helmet, the steel pot, stuck it under there and filled it up. I'm going to go back to the church, and I find Joe. I said, I got some beer. He said, oh. And he lifts his head up from the ground, and I'm pouring him a little beer from the helmet. Hey, give me some of that. So I go over here, and I give him some. Hey, give me some of that. And I go to this guy. I felt like a mother cow, you're feeding the. And I ran out. I said, I got no more. They said, go get some more. Okay. I go down again, fill my helmet up, start back. Standing in the doorway is Major, regimental surgeon. He said, what the hell are you doing, soldier? I said, sir, giving aid and comfort to the wounded. He said, don't you know I've got stomach cases and chest cases? And you damn fool, you give him something to drink, you'll kill him. Get out of here before I have you shot.
65 years later, Vince returned to Bastogne. When he arrived in the center of town, he saw a small museum commemorating the battle. After introducing himself to the museum's young curator, Vince and two newfound friends soon were touring the battlefield, looking for his unit's location. Returning to town, Vince offered to take them to lunch, and over good food and fine wine, he shared his beer story with them. What happened next is one of the great ironies of World War II.
And there was beer on tap. I took my helmet off, and I said, and I filled it up with beer, and I took it back to the church, and I started, and both of them practically stood up and said, You were the GI who brought beer to the wounded during the Battle of Bastogne? I said, yeah. They said, oh, things and you don't know. I said, I don't know what. They said, you're famous all over Europe. I said, all over Europe? He said, waiter, come here. Bring me 3 bottles of airborne beer. This is what came. They took the bottle and they showed me. Here's a picture of a paratrooper with a helmet full of beer bringing it to his friends. They said about 20 years ago, he said there are 127 brewers in Belgium. And 20 years ago, so one of them from this area who heard that rumor about a GI who gave beer to the wounded during the war, and he said, we'll honor this man. He said, but we thought it was a rumor. We didn't know. He said, and now, he said, what a miracle. Standing in front of us is the man who did this. Well, I said, well, I got to take a bottle at home so I can show my friends and so on. He said, and you know what? He said, they serve it in a ceramic bowl in the shape of a helmet.